Have you ever felt that sting of rejection, only to realize it ignited a spark in someone else? It's a strange dance we all do, isn't it? You pull away, and suddenly they want you more. Ever wondered why that happens? What if I told you this isn't just a coincidence? It's a psychological phenomenon rooted deep in the wisdom of Carl Jung. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, looking down at the chaos below. That feeling of fear, exhilaration. What if I told you that's exactly how desire works? Rejection creates a void, and in that emptiness, desire rushes in to fill it. But there's more to this story. Think about it. Every time you've been turned down, hasn't it made you question your own worth? And what about the times you've been the one doing the rejecting? How did it feel to watch someone chase after you? The chase can lead to unexpected outcomes, don't you think? Stay with me, because understanding this dynamic could change how you navigate your relationships forever. What if the very thing that pushes someone away is also what pulls them in closer? Let's dive into this fascinating Jungian trap together. The shadow theory of Jung. You know, Carl Jung had this fascinating idea about the shadow within us. It's like those parts of ourselves that we often push aside or deny. When we experience rejection, it's almost as if that shadow comes to the surface, revealing our hidden desires and personalities we don't usually acknowledge. I mean, think about it. When someone turns us down, it can trigger feelings we didn't even know were lurking beneath the surface. We might find ourselves questioning our worth, or even diving into the aspects of ourselves we've long ignored. This rejection, instead of being merely a blow to our ego, often serves as a catalyst for self-discovery. When I reflect on my own experiences with rejection, I can see how it pushed me to confront parts of my personality I had buried. It's like looking into a mirror that shows not just my flaws, but also my potential. Jung believed that embracing our shadows could lead to a more integrated self. So, while rejection stings, it also offers an opportunity to explore our deeper selves. We can learn about what we truly desire and what we fear. It's almost poetic how pain can lead to growth if we allow it. But here's where it gets tricky. The rejection itself can feel so personal and isolating. It's easy to fall into the trap of self-blame, thinking that we are somehow less than others. Yet, Jung's theory reminds us that these feelings are part of a broader human experience. Everyone has a shadow. Everyone has parts of themselves that they struggle to accept. In a way, rejection can unite us in our shared vulnerabilities. It pushes us to reach out, connect, and ultimately heal. The more I think about it, the clearer it becomes that understanding our shadows can help us navigate the complexities of rejection. Instead of running from those feelings, we can embrace them. When we acknowledge the hidden facets of our personality, we can turn rejection into a powerful tool for personal growth. It's not just about getting over it, but rather about growing through it. So the next time I face rejection, I'll try to remember Jung's wisdom. I'll remind myself that my shadow isn't something to fear, but rather a part of my journey towards self-acceptance. It's a chance to explore my inner world, and who knows, maybe even find strengths I never knew existed. The paradox of desire. Isn't it curious how rejection often makes us want something even more? That's the paradox of desire right there. When we face rejection, we frequently find our attraction intensifying instead of diminishing. It's almost like the act of saying no creates an allure around that person or opportunity. Scarcity, it turns out, can be a powerful motivator. I can't count the times I've felt more drawn to someone simply because they didn't reciprocate my feelings. That tension can be intoxicating. This paradox leads to a fascinating dance between desire and rejection. When we think we can't have something, our minds start to inflate its value. It's like when you see a sold-out sign on a concert ticket. Suddenly, that experience seems more exclusive and desirable. This dynamic can complicate our emotional responses, leading us to chase after what we can't have, rather than appreciating what's readily available. It's a wild ride, isn't it? I remember a time when I was head over heels for someone who didn't feel the same way. The more they pulled away, the more I found myself fantasizing about what could have been. I started to question my own feelings, wondering if I was truly attracted to them, or just the idea of them. It's a slippery slope, and many of us have been there. The desire ignited by rejection often leads us to chase after people who may not be right for us, simply because they represent something unattainable. But here's the kicker. This paradox can also lead to deeper self-reflection. Why do we want what we can't have? What does that say about our self-esteem or our understanding of love? It forces us to confront our motivations, which can be a painful yet enlightening process. In a sense, rejection becomes a mirror reflecting our desires and insecurities. Ultimately, understanding the paradox of desire helps us navigate the emotional roller coaster that rejection can bring. Instead of getting lost in the chase, we can take a step back and evaluate what we truly want. It's a chance to differentiate between genuine desire and a mere reaction to scarcity. And that clarity can be empowering. Rejection as a mirror. Rejection often acts like a mirror, reflecting our internal insecurities and desires back at us. When someone turns us down, it's easy to go down a rabbit hole of self-doubt. We start questioning our worth, our attractiveness, and even our abilities. I've been there, feeling like I'm not good enough simply because someone didn't choose me. But the truth is, that reaction often has less to do with the other person and more to do with our own internal landscape. The emotional response to rejection is a powerful indicator of our vulnerabilities. It exposes the areas where we might be insecure or where our self-esteem could use a boost. For instance, if a rejection stings more than usual, it might reveal underlying fears about being unlovable or inadequate. This is where the beauty of rejection lies. It encourages us to explore and confront those inner struggles. It's a chance to dig deep and ask ourselves why we feel the way we do. I've come to realize that every rejection can teach us something valuable about ourselves. It's not just about the pain, it's about what that pain reveals. When we're rejected, we can either let it consume us or use it as a stepping stone for growth. I've found that by reflecting on my emotional responses, I can identify patterns in my behavior and feelings. It's like peeling back layers of an onion, discovering new insights with each layer removed. Moreover, rejection can also serve as a reminder that we are not alone in our feelings of inadequacy. Everyone experiences rejection at some point in their lives. It's a universal human experience that connects us all. By viewing rejection as a mirror, we can foster empathy not just for ourselves, but also for others. We can learn to appreciate the shared vulnerabilities that come with being human. So, the next time I face rejection, I'll try to remember that it's not just a reflection of my worth, but also an opportunity for deeper self-exploration. It's a chance to confront my insecurities and come out stronger on the other side. By embracing the lessons hidden within those painful moments, I can transform rejection into a powerful catalyst for personal growth. The effect of exclusivity. Have you ever noticed how something becomes infinitely more desirable when it's out of reach? That's the effect of exclusivity at play. When we perceive that something or someone is rare or unavailable, our brains kick into overdrive, convincing us of its value. I find this phenomenon particularly interesting in the realm of relationships. The moment someone pulls away, they often become more attractive, almost like a light shining brighter in the darkness. This dynamic can complicate our emotional lives. It's as if the unavailability of a person enhances their allure, making us want to pursue them even more. I've often caught myself thinking, why do I want them so badly now that I can't have them? It's a mix of challenge and intrigue that can be hard to resist. The thrill of the chase can overshadow the reality of the relationship, leading us to overlook red flags or incompatibilities. The exclusivity effect can also create a false sense of urgency. We begin to feel like we must act quickly before the opportunity slips away. It's a mindset that can lead to impulsive decisions, driven more by the fear of losing out than by genuine feelings. I've made choices in the past that I later regretted, all because I was caught up in the excitement of pursuing something that wasn't truly meant for me. Yet there's a silver lining to this exclusivity effect. It encourages us to reflect on what we truly value in relationships. Are we chasing after something because it's genuinely what we want? Or are we simply attracted to the idea of it being unattainable? This introspection can guide us toward healthier relationships and choices. Ultimately, the effect of exclusivity reminds us of the importance of discernment. While it's natural to be drawn to what's rare, we have to be cautious not to let that desire cloud our judgment. By understanding this dynamic, we can navigate our feelings more effectively and make choices that align with our true values and desires. Reactive attraction. Behavior. You know, it's funny how rejection can flip a switch in us. When someone turns us down, It often sparks this instinctual drive to fight for their approval. It's like a primal urge kicks in, compelling us to prove our worthiness. I remember a time when I faced rejection from someone I really liked. Instead of simply accepting their no, I found myself going out of my way to show them that I was worth their attention. It felt almost ridiculous, but in the moment, the need to be accepted overshadowed my initial disappointment. This reactive behavior can lead to all sorts of self-reflection. I started questioning what was lacking in me that made the other person reject me. It's like a mirror reflecting back all my insecurities. I had this burning desire to know what I could change or do differently to win them over. In many ways, that reaction is deeply rooted in our need for connection and validation. The more someone pulls away, the more we tend to chase after them, sometimes even to our own detriment. Interestingly enough, this behavior is not just limited to romantic interests. I've noticed similar patterns in friendships and professional settings. When someone doesn't acknowledge my efforts or input, it often lights a fire under me. I feel the urge to prove myself and earn their respect or friendship. It's a cycle that can lead to unhealthy dynamics, where we find ourselves constantly seeking approval from those who are indifferent. As I reflect on my experiences, I can't help but wonder about the underlying psychology behind this. Is it purely about ego, or is it a deeper need for connection that drives us? After all, we are social beings. The desire for acceptance is ingrained in us. Maybe that's why we are so prone to this reactive behavior. We want to believe we are worthy, and rejection feels like a challenge to that belief. In the end, I've learned that while this reactive attraction behavior can be powerful, it's important to recognize it for what it is. It's a natural response to feeling rejected, but it's essential to step back and assess whether this chase for approval is genuinely aligned with what we need. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to focus on self-acceptance rather than seeking validation from others. For our cycle of rejection and attraction. The cycle of rejection and attraction. What a tangled web we weave. It's almost poetic how these two forces can dance around each other, creating a rhythm that many of us find ourselves caught in. I've experienced this firsthand. One moment, I'm feeling rejected, and the next, I'm inexplicably drawn back to the very person who turned me down. There's something about that push and pull that keeps the heart racing, but it also leaves us feeling dizzy. What fascinates me is how this cycle often leads to patterns that repeat themselves. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. You climb to the top with hope and anticipation, only to plummet down into despair. And yet time and again, we find ourselves back in the same situation, often with different people but the same emotional turmoil. I've spent countless nights wondering why I keep falling into this trap, and I've come to realize that there's a certain thrill in the chase that can be intoxicating. This cycle of rejection and attraction can also distort our perceptions of relationships. When we experience rejection, we tend to develop a heightened sense of desire for what we can't have. It's as if the rejection amplifies our interest, creating this almost magnetic pull towards the person who deemed us unworthy. I've had moments where I knew I should let go, yet the thought of that person being out of reach made them all the more enticing. Reflecting on this, I've come to understand that breaking this cycle requires a conscious effort. It's not easy to step back and evaluate our feelings, especially when emotions are running high. But acknowledging the patterns can help us gain clarity. By recognizing when we're falling into the same old traps, we can start to make healthier choices. It's about learning to let go of the need to chase after those who don't reciprocate our feelings. Ultimately, the cycle of rejection and attraction can be a wake-up call. It forces us to confront our desires and understand what we truly want from relationships. By breaking free from this cycle, we can create healthier dynamics that foster genuine connection rather than mere chase. It's about shifting our focus from the thrill of the chase to building meaningful connections built on mutual respect and attraction. Defense mechanisms, huh? They are fascinating tools of our psyche. When faced with rejection, many of us instinctively deploy these mechanisms to protect ourselves from emotional pain. I remember a time when I faced a particularly harsh rejection that stung more than I expected. Instead of confronting my feelings of hurt and disappointment, I found myself brushing it off as if it didn't matter. This was my way of shielding myself from the rawness of rejection, a classic example of denial in action. But denial isn't the only mechanism we resort to. I've also experienced rationalization, where I tried to convince myself that the rejection was for the best or that the person wasn't worth my time anyway. It's amazing how our minds can twist reality to make us feel better. This rationalization provided a temporary sense of relief, but it also kept me from processing the real feelings of loss and inadequacy that the rejection brought up. Another common defense mechanism that kicks in is projection. I've caught myself projecting my insecurities onto the other person, thinking they must have rejected me because they were intimidated or insecure themselves. While it can provide a sense of comfort, it also distorts reality. It's essential to recognize that these mechanisms, while protective, can also trap us in a cycle of avoidance instead of encouraging growth. Understanding these defense mechanisms is crucial for personal development. They can act as both shields and barriers. On one hand, they help us cope with emotional pain. On the other, they can prevent us from facing the truth about ourselves and our relationships. I've learned that it's healthier to acknowledge my feelings and work through them rather than hide behind these psychological shields. The journey to self-awareness is ongoing. I've found that by recognizing and understanding my defense mechanisms, I can better navigate the emotional landscape of rejection. It's about learning to sit with discomfort, allowing myself to feel the pain and disappointment, and ultimately emerging stronger from the experience. After all, facing rejection head-on can lead to profound personal growth and a clearer understanding of what I truly want and need in relationships. The search for external validation. You know, it's funny how rejection can sometimes push us into this never-ending quest for validation from others. It's almost as if the moment someone dismisses us, we suddenly feel this urge to prove our worth to not only them, but to everyone around us. We might find ourselves scrolling through social media, seeking likes and comments as if they can fill that void left by someone not wanting us. It's a bit of a dangerous game, isn't it? Chasing after compliments and affirmations can become a way to rebuild our self-esteem, but it often leads us into a cycle where our happiness hinges on the opinions of others. I remember a time when I faced rejection from someone I really liked. It stung, to say the least. Instead of taking a moment to reflect on my feelings, I dove headfirst into social gatherings. I wanted to be seen, to be noticed, and to hear people say, "You're great." But in chasing that external validation, I lost sight of who I really was. I was so focused on what others thought of me that I neglected the importance of validating my own feelings and experiences. It's a slippery slope. We start to think that our value is defined by how others perceive us. This isn't just about feeling good for a moment. It can have long-lasting effects. The more I relied on validation, the less confident I felt in my own skin. It's like a constant need to prove that I'm worthy of love and acceptance. And that need can overshadow the real work that comes with self-acceptance. I've learned that finding validation within ourselves is crucial. It's about recognizing our own strengths and worth, regardless of how others respond to us. Rejection can also trigger a narrative in our minds that we aren't enough. We might think, if only I looked different or acted differently, maybe I would have been accepted. This mindset not only erodes our self-esteem, but also tempts us to change who we are to fit someone else's expectations. It becomes a never-ending cycle of trying to mold ourselves into someone we think others want us to be, rather than embracing our true selves. Finding that internal validation is more challenging, but infinitely more rewarding. I've come to realize that the path to overcoming the pain of rejection involves shifting our focus from seeking external approval to fostering self-love. It's not an easy journey, but one that leads to a much healthier and more resilient self-image. When we learn to validate our own worth, we no longer need to rely on others to feel complete. The scars of rejection can deepen our understanding of ourselves, ultimately leading to empowerment rather than despair. The influence of previous traumatization. Reflecting on past experiences, it's clear that previous rejections can shape how we perceive new situations. Think about it. If you've been hurt before, every new rejection can feel like a fresh wound, reopening old scars. It's natural to be cautious after experiencing pain, but sometimes that caution can morph into a barrier, preventing us from fully engaging in new relationships. I've noticed that every time I faced a new rejection, the memories of past hurts would flood back, making it even harder to navigate the present. There's a certain weight that comes with past trauma. It's as if each rejection adds another layer to the baggage we carry. When a new person comes into our lives, we might find ourselves second-guessing their intentions or fearing the worst. This can lead us to withdraw or behave defensively, even if the new situation has the potential to be positive. I've caught myself holding back from forming connections, all because I was afraid of facing that rejection again. It's like living in the shadow of my past, where every no echoes louder than any yes I might receive. Additionally, it's fascinating how our brain processes these experiences. The mind tends to latch onto negative experiences more strongly than positive ones. So, when we face rejection, our brain might replay that moment repeatedly, amplifying the pain and reinforcing our fears. This can turn into a cycle of anxiety and avoidance, where we become hesitant to put ourselves out there, fearing that we'll experience the same disappointment again. I've realized that understanding this pattern is crucial for breaking free from it. What's more, these past experiences often lead us to project our fears onto new relationships. We might assume that someone will reject us based on someone else's actions from our past. This projection can cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing others for who they truly are. It's a shame because it can rob us of the opportunity to build meaningful connections. I've learned that recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking them. Confronting our fears, instead of allowing them to dictate our actions, can be liberating. Ultimately, the key to moving forward is to acknowledge our past, but not let it define our future. Healing takes time, and it's important to give ourselves grace as we navigate new relationships. Learning to separate the past from the present can be transformative, allowing us to approach new experiences with a fresh perspective. As I work through my own past traumas, I strive to embrace each new interaction as a unique opportunity, one that deserves its own chance, free from the shadows of what has come before. Strategies for overcoming rejection. Navigating the landscape of rejection is never easy, but developing strategies to face it head-on can make a world of difference. One of the first things I've learned is the importance of reframing rejection in a more constructive light. Instead of viewing it as a definitive judgment on my worth, I try to see it as an opportunity for growth. It's a mindset shift that takes practice, but it can be incredibly empowering. I've started to think of rejection as feedback rather than failure, which helps me to reframe my experiences and move forward. Another crucial strategy is cultivating resilience. I've found that building resilience isn't just about toughening up. It's about developing a toolkit of coping mechanisms. For instance, taking time to engage in self-care activities, like exercising, journaling, or spending time with supportive friends, can help me process my feelings and bounce back more quickly. It's fascinating how these small acts can create a buffer against the emotional fallout of rejection, allowing me to maintain a more balanced perspective. Additionally, seeking support from others has been invaluable. I've realized that talking about my experiences with people I trust can lighten the emotional load. Sharing my feelings allows me to gain different perspectives and reminds me that I'm not alone in my struggles. Friends and family can provide encouragement and insights that I might not see on my own, making the process of overcoming rejection feel less isolating. It's also vital to practice self-compassion. I've learned to be kinder to myself when faced with rejection, recognizing that it's a part of life that everyone experiences. Instead of spiraling into self-criticism, I try to treat myself as I would a friend in a similar situation, offering understanding and support rather than judgment. This shift in how I speak to myself has been a game changer, allowing me to heal more effectively and move past rejection with greater ease. Finally, setting realistic expectations is essential. Sometimes, we put so much pressure on ourselves to succeed or to be accepted that we forget that rejection is a natural part of life. I've come to understand that not every interaction will lead to acceptance, and that's perfectly okay. By managing my expectations, I can approach new situations with an open heart, ready to engage without the heavy burden of fear. Building these strategies into my life has not only helped me cope with rejection, but has also enhanced my overall resilience and self-esteem, paving the way for healthier connections in the future. And there you have it. Understanding why rejection can ignite a deeper desire in others is like unlocking a hidden door in the realm of relationships. Think about it for a moment. How often have you felt that magnetic pull towards someone who didn't reciprocate your feelings? It's a powerful dynamic, isn't it? That sense of intrigue and challenge can make us question everything we thought we knew about love and attraction. But let's take this a step further. Have you ever considered how your own patterns play into this? Are you unconsciously creating distance to test their commitment? Or maybe you find yourself drawn to those who seem unattainable, just like a moth to a flame. Jung believed that these patterns are rooted deep within our psyche, influencing our choices in ways we often overlook. So, what about you? How will you use this knowledge to transform your relationships? Will you embrace vulnerability, or will you continue to dance around the edges of connection? Remember, understanding these dynamics is just the beginning. The real journey lies in applying this wisdom to your life. Stay curious, keep exploring, and let's unravel these complexities together. What's your next move? Let's dive into the comments and discuss.